What is this old rusty vehicle doing in our driveway?
We built everything on the engine stand, got the car back from paint. So this is our 67 Chevelle that we've had back for a little while from paint. So we used a lot of original like parts and then a mix of some custom parts as well. All right, so it's looking like a car now, and we're at a good point where there's still a ton of little mechanical things to do. I'm starting to just like mock up intake tube stuff. The wheels and tires we selected came in.
You'd fit your whole head in there. You could, dude, someone go get a baby.
It's a two-piece forged welded.
We went with a really nice Alcantara, basically a suede headliner. All right, so with the 67 Chevelle starting to look like a car again, some front sheet metal on, we're starting to get the vision, and we're at a good point where there's still a ton of little mechanical things to do. We did a lot of cleaning up on the engine bay. We really wanted it to look clean and simple, and there was a few things that needed to be planned out still. There was some plumbing to finalize, intake routing, basically everything to make the car run as far as final details. So we're looking at the compressor manifold. And instead of running like a 90-degree fitting, we just have these mocked up. We think we're gonna get a compressor manifold that has the 90 built into it so that we can have our service ports down lower, just hidden a little bit. And it'll kind of black out this section. And we'll be able to route our AC hosing closer to the heater fitting hosing and then tuck it all up under the fender. The CVF accessory drive comes with a 90-degree, like a straight AC manifold ports, but a couple of companies make some that they come out and go straight down so that you can run a straight fitting on your hose and have like the manifold just point straight down for kind of a cleaner look. So we're kind of just mapping all that out right now. We tried to hide as much as we could as far as heater hoses, AC hoses, wiring for all the headlights and turn signals. We went away from factory routing on all of that to plumb stuff through the cowl in and out of that fender well and get it outside of where the engine bay, it would visually, where it would clutter up the engine bay. We're still working on like all that small detail work. We're gonna be doing that for a while because we wanna make sure everything's really nice and just well built and that it looks good on this car. So I'm gonna flip the camera around, show you guys a little bit of what we're working on. So you can see here, Junior's working on plumbing the AC stuff. We got this nice AC manifold from Holley that turns down, and he started marking the AC lines, and we're gonna route the heater lines coming out so we have like just kind of like a bulk of all the 4 lines, and we're gonna hide them up under the inner fender, and that way it just looks cleaner in here, tucking all the plumbing. And then I started on the spark plugs and the spark plug wires. So these are the really bitchin' ceramic spark plug wires from Fitec. Sometimes with LS's, with headers, you have issues with the spark plug wires touching. So having a ceramic boot gets rid of all those burnt plug wire issues, which are really common on LS engines with headers. So you can see on this side, we got them all installed already. They go right up to the Fitec coil packs, and this is a Fitec valve cover setup as well. We're just gonna continue getting those done, continue on the plumbing, and maybe get into some fuel system stuff, and we're just gonna keep plugging away.
Are you just doodling?
Yeah, just after recess, I like to get a little... Okay, so what I'm starting to do is just map out, we're gonna put a force fuel up in the engine bay from Fitec. And right now, I'm just starting to map out all the fittings and lines I'm gonna need to do that. And I like to just draw it all out so that I can get a full inventory of all the fittings I'm gonna need. They're all gonna be AN fittings. And so basically, it's just figuring out, we're gonna use the tank, in-tank pump to act as a lift pump to the force fuel. And then the force fuel is gonna provide regulated fuel to our fuel rail. And then it has a return line back to the fuel tank. So I'm just gonna map all that out on paper so that I can start ordering all the fittings, and we have everything in house so that I can put it all together and get it all plumbed. Not to scale, by the way. I'm starting to just like mock up intake tube stuff. What we want to do is we end up saving a lot of intake tubes off different cars that we've worked on or we build. And you can see I got like a whole pile of different bends. But what I want to do is end up with a smooth, 4-inch round intake tube. And I want to put the filter over here where it's further away from the hot air. And we might even build a heat shield for it and some fresh air ducting to come from the inner fender well.
to get this thing to breathe right. So we're just in the process of trying different tubes, and then when we finalize it, we want it to all look clean, and we'll put basically brand new parts on it. So this is just mock-up to see kind of design ideas, what we want to lay out. Another part of the plumbing that we're getting all dialed in is the cooling system. And what I like to do on these cars is I want them to look really nice, but I want them to be serviceable as well. So we get silicone 90s, and that way, if you ever were to blow a radiator hose out in the middle of nowhere, you can basically find any hose from any application that has a 90 in it at some point and cut that portion out, and you'll have this stainless tube as an intermediate piece. So we just got a 45-degree stainless tube. I went ahead and cut it to fit and rolled some beads in it so that it doesn't blow the hose under pressure. What it is, it's like a very serviceable piece. It makes the complex bend that you need, but it also you're able to swap parts pretty easily with just a 90-degree. Even if you want a 90-degree silicone ones, they're available very easily instead of having a full custom hose. We're just mapping out some of that stuff as far as plumbing, intake tubing, just moving forward on the engine bay.
The idea was to make this car accessible, drivable, enjoyable, and feel luxury. So the transmission in this car, those ideas changed a few times in the build process. Space kind of dictated that we were gonna go with a SilverSport 4-speed overdrive transmission, fully built from SilverSport transmissions to handle this power level. We had experience with it in our shop truck. We knew it was gonna keep the engine in the RPM range we wanted. We spec'd out the torque converter exactly for this engine and RPM range. So with the transmission up in the car, now it was time to route a little bit more plumbing. Transmission cooler lines, all the fittings were all planned out. That's all plumbed in AN fittings. Electric parking brake got installed from Wilwood. So this was the time that we were under the car handling a lot of the undercarriage stuff.
Here at RestoMods, we blend classic style with modern technology in these amazing drivable works of art. Then we give them away to people just like you watching a video just like this. So head over to RestoMods.com, claim your entries. You could be our next winner. Good luck, back to the video.
Okay, quick synopsis of what we're doing today. Adrian mounted the starter in, and he played with a lot of clocking positions to make sure there was clearance with the exhaust and the crank position sensor. So I think we have a plan to mount it this way and then route a quick disconnect so that it's an easy serviceable starter. Up front, we've been working on getting the cam position sensor in and routed, so we have that wired in now. We got some more sensors mounted. We had to do some adapters for the oil pressure sensor so that it didn't hit our intake manifold. There's basically just all aftermarket parts. Devil's in the details, but that's what we're chipping away at today.
So now that we got the car off the lift and back on the ground, it was time to call Rick back in to do some more interior work. We tried to manage our timeline as far as working on mechanicals and interior at the same time without getting in each other's way. So we gave Rick some space to do some real important work. He took the dash with him, wrapped it in leather. It was a factory type dash. But you see there were some unique touches on the metal part of the dash that he wrapped. From there, the next thing was he fitted a couple things and then the headliner. Normally these cars, the metal dash is exposed. There's some vents, a speaker grill, stuff like that. We made the dash double wall with a smooth panel so that when he goes and upholsters over this with leather, it's completely smooth and flat. So that's what he's gonna be working on today. At his shop, he did a lot of the stitching, so it has a French seam that goes across the dash pad. You can kind of see that here. And then we're having the actual dash panel. We had it painted to match. So they color matched the leather for the ashtray and the dash panel. And we'll probably go ahead and satin this so that when it's butted right up next to the leather, it doesn't reflect the light the way a semi-gloss does, because the leather doesn't really reflect, so we're gonna have this non-reflective as well, and we'll paint the door tops. But today, he's gonna get started on probably the hardest part is gonna be wrapping this dash. It turns a corner and all the seams have to hit and match, so he's gonna be working his magic on that today.
All right, here's what we got. We have the leather. This is actually right on the metal that was prepared for me by Chris. Once we bolt this thing in place, it'll be like that, and that'll take care of this piece. And from there on, we're gonna install the fascia piece that goes over there. After this, I'm actually making templates for the carpet. I'm making plastic templates, and essentially what I'm doing is I'm lifting information from the car. So what we're doing here is I'm putting in a sport carpet that kind of looks German, like the old 911s or something like that, where they're all bound in separate pieces and gives it a real sporty look. So that's going to be the next step. Now we're waiting for the headliner, and that's kind of where we're at.
So with Rick chipping away at our interior, the wheels and tires we selected came in.
We custom ordered these wheels from American Racing. As you guys have seen, as we've been building the car, it has American Racing wheels on it, but these are not the wheels that the car is gonna run. These were kind of placeholders. We went with a brand new wheel from them. It's a VF 560, it's 19 by 12, so a foot wide in the back.
Dude.
And just picking them up, I was like, wow, this is super light. And that's because it's an all forged wheel, custom built with a ceramic bronze center. So that's the part that I'm really excited about, because we love the green paint on this car and we wanted to set it off with something that was gonna kind of stand out.
Oh, rip her open.
That bronze looks amazing.
You'd fit your whole head in there. You could, dude, someone go get a baby.
Quick mock-up.
Yeah, that is gonna go so good.
That's it right there.
This is a size 10 Hoka. It's a two-piece forged, welded.
All right, we gotta get tires like these.
Get tires and
ASAP.
test fit these ASAP, because man, she's ready to get off of those torque thrusts.
So Rick's back, and he had taken the TMI one-piece fiberglass headliner that this car has. We went with a really nice Alcantara, basically a suede headliner, and we had to choose a brown that complemented the leather that we were using. Everything is a combination of truffle brown and dunkel brown. So the truffle brown is something we had seen in a lot of Porsches. The color accents for the carpet were a tough decision to make. But at the end of the day, sticking with everything being brown, the final product came out really good. It was exactly what we were looking for. Very unique truffle brown color. Not so much like a distressed saddle that you see a lot. Not a really dark leather color that's gonna get lost in the light. So it really works well with all the earth tones and the rest of the car. So with the headliner in, that was the last thing we were waiting for to be able to install glass on the car. In the glass channel is where a lot of the sheet metal components are all welded together for the car. We wanted to hide all that. So if you look at a modern windshield, it usually has a black painted strip around it to hide all those pieces of the car. We wanted to replicate that. So Junior went ahead and measured out what we needed to tape off, painted behind the clear glass so that you could see the black through the glass. And that hid everything perfectly with the headliner installed and everything. It was a big pivotal moment getting glass in the car. Jumping back and forth as you do on a build, we were back into more engine stuff. We had basically all the systems dialed in and we were ready to start it. At this point, it's down to the nitty-gritty. The final 10% of the build, this is where all the details matter.
It should be a good milestone week. Actually move this car under its own power. It should be awesome.
We have the vintage air controls in now, and now it's just down to getting the interior as nice as the exterior.